Chapter 11. John is instructed by the messenger Malachi-Zadok to measure the amount of true followers in the temple, the new tabernacle of the Most High, and of those who prostrate in it. Sending of the two witnesses. And I, John son of Zebedee and Salome, was given a reed like a rod to measure the temple, and it was being said to me, Stand up and take a survey in number and value, sincerity, of the people of the holy tabernacle of the Most High, Anu, and also those who reside around the altar and the throne of the Heavenly One, who are the 24 elders, the 4 living creatures symbolic of the 4 world empires, the Lamb of Al-Elo, Eli, the Messiah Jesus, and the Anunnaki Elohim Malachi-Zadok, and the ones who worship inside of it, who are the 144,000 faithful. So, as for the groups of people which are outside of the holy tabernacle, or those people who claim to be a part, but won't come in the tabernacle because they have learned the truth but the discipline is too much for them to live by, so discard them which are outside and don't do a survey on them, or don't count them, because they do not worship the Most High, nor hold firmly together as one unit and can't give up the intoxicants. So indeed, they have given themselves to the Gentile nation, those who don't read nor live by all the scriptures. The holy city, they will fold it, meaning they will absorb the truth but will refuse to submit to the facts and instead, will step on it, trying to keep the truth from spreading, that the holy tabernacle has the truth for 42 months, which is equivalent to 3.5 years, symbolic of the time when people won't find it necessary to live in the holy tabernacle of the Most High, because they will be too busy following after and living the lifestyle of the malevolent beings. All of those who stay outside of the tabernacle and aren't counted will suffer all the plagues that occur worldwide, while those who stay inside will be spared. And I, John, son of Zebedee and Salome, will give to my 2 witnesses Moses, whose real name is Tobadonijah, also called Thutmose III, and Ahmad, also called Muhammad, both being known as the sons of oil, were given the ability to predict, and both said someone was coming after them. This ability lasted for 1,260 days, equal to 42 months or 3.5 years, and upon them will be wool fabric, which is a garment of thick coarse haircloth made from goat's hair. These 2, the newsbearers Moses and Muhammad, known as the sons of oil, they are 2 olive trees. They are called the sons of oil because they represent the source of light of the truth, and the 2 candlesticks, the first being the congregation of Sardis, which is Judaism, and the second being Philadelphia, which is Al-Islam. In front of Theos of the planet Earth, is the menorah, and if anyone wants to hurt these 2, Muhammad, Al-Islam, or Moses, Judaism, out of their mouths will come fire to swallow their enemies, being very successful in their respective battles for their homelands, Jerusalem and Mecca, and if anyone wants to harm these 2, then it will be necessary for him to be killed like this by fire. These 2 have the authority to close the Orion skies to control the forces of nature so that it won't rain, causing famines and droughts in the days of their prediction, and they also have authority over water to make it become blood, as Moses, also called Tobadonijah and Thutmose III, did in Kemet, Egypt, and to hit the planet Earth with every plague, if they want to. And when these 2, Muhammad and Moses, have completed their testimony, when the doctrine of real Judaism and Al-Islam has been spread throughout the world, the beast will ascend out of the bottomless pit, rising in power against it and its followers, and will seemingly succeed in suppressing its doctrine in order to conquer and kill these 2, Muhammad and Moses, teachings of truth. Their dead bodies will be discarded in the marketplaces of the great city of New Babylon, America, which is being called a spiritual Sodom, and Egypt, the place in which the master of these 2 was crucified. Meaning that they teach in America that the Messiah Jesus is the Creator, God, and that he was crucified on the cross. And all the tribes and kindred and tongue and Gentile nation of people all over the world will see the suppression of the truth, and was looking at these 2 bodies for 3.5 days as the truth lay dormant. Everyone left the bodies without burying them in a tomb. While all of this is going on in the USA, the children of the devil will be in Jerusalem ruling. And all they that live on the planet Earth will be happy over these 2. These people who do not want to follow the laws of El's Torah and El's Quran will feel liberated. They will feel free to entertain themselves with evils, and will celebrate the birth and death of the so-called Christ, and some of them will even send gifts to others, because these 2 prophets, Moses and Muhammad, newsbearers, cause much pain upon those that live on the planet Earth because of the strictness of the laws. And after the 3.5 days before the real Messiah returns, the living soul from Theos will enter these 2, Muhammad and Moses, bringing back the teachings, so they will stand up on their 2 feet, and great fear will fall upon those who look at these 2, because they thought they had killed the truth. And they, the whole world, heard a supreme voice from the Orion skies saying to these 2, Ascend up here, and they ascended towards the Orion skies by way of clouds, and their enemies just looked at them. And in that hour will be a great earthquake, and 1/10 of the city will fall, split off, and sink into the ocean. This earthquake is the magnitude of the Great Earthquake of California to come and the many earthquakes since March 29, 1970 AD. So 7,000 names of human beings died from the earthquake, and those who survived, but were shivering because they realized their wrongdoings and will repent from their misdeeds, gave glory to Theos of Oranos, the Orion skies, and accepted the truth. The second plague has passed, and the third plague is coming soon. Then the seventh Anunnaki Elohim blew, bringing the seventh and final misery destined to plague the earth. And there were supreme voices in Oranos, the Orion skies, all the inhabitants of heaven, the heavenly host, the 24 elders, the 4 living creatures raised their voices in praise of Anu, the Most High, saying, "The kingdom of this world has now become our master kingdom, which is the New Jerusalem, for his Messiah, and he will become the ruler of rulers forever and ever. Amen." And the 24 elders, who sit in front of Theos on their thrones, fell down on their faces and worshipped before Theos, saying, "We give thanks to you, O Master, who is El Elo, who is now and was in ancient times and is to come, because you took your supreme power and you rule. And the Gentile nations were mad, because your wrath had come. The nations of the world will be angered because their devilishment was disrupted and put to an final end, in the time for the dead, all those who had already passed from this life to the next to be judged, and for the reward of your servants, the news bearers and the holy ones, and from those that fear your name in true righteousness, small and great, and would destroy those who cause mischief in the planet earth. The time will come when El Elo will avenge his righteous servants who suffered at the hands of the cursed seed of the evil one. It is they who are the mischief makers in the planet earth. El Elo gave Shaitan, Satan, the evil one, the authority to make mischief in the land as a test to the seed of Kadmon, Zakar, Adam. By way of the devil's mischief, the Most High, Anu, El Elo, Eli, would be able to see those who would be obedient and remain faithful to his commandments. The time is drawing near when the devil and his seed will be called to account for their misdeeds. And the holy tabernacle temple of Yahweh of the Elohim is symbolic of the tabernacle of El Elo that the Israelites had constructed while in the wilderness. This same temple has been rebuilt in these last days and times. The holy tabernacle of El Elo was opened in the Orion skies as a protection from the Orion skies, signifying that the Elohim will guide us. And there was a screen, which is the most holy place and the holy of holies, and the Aron Berith Yahuwah, called the Ark of his covenant, was in the holy tabernacle, as a symbol of the Elohim's presence. And there was lightning, and voices and thunder, and an earthquake, and great hail. Because after the temple was completed, a cloud covered it, and the glory of El Elo filled the tabernacle. Chapter 12. The vision of a woman in heaven, crowned with 12 stars and the moon at her feet. And there was seen a big sign to the world in the heavens, which is in the Orion skies, a 6-star constellation, a confidant wife who was Hadrat Fatima, daughter of Mustafa Muhammad al-Amin and Khadijah, not Mary, the mother of Jesus, as some so-called Christian scholars would have you believe. This woman is also symbolic of the re-establishment of al-Islam in its pristine purity in the Western Hemisphere, as was practiced by the Ansaru Allah community, then in the world. Of having been thrown about with the sun, saying that she was pure, chaste and unadulterated, and the moon, Kingu, Leviathan, underneath her feet, symbolic of the reappearance of al-Islam, and upon her head a crown of royalty and authority of 12 stars. Each one representing the 12 tribes of Ishmael, Nebaioth, one who moved the heights, Kedar, those of the black, dark brown skin, Abdiel, slave of El, Mibzam, he who makes sweet odors, a perfume maker, Mishma, he who will he trialed and hard, Duma, he who cannot speak, Masa, he who had Urim and Thummim to relieve the burdens, Hadar, he who is the warrior of thunder, Tama, the dweller of the Arabian desert, Jatur, he who will be imprisoned, Nephish, he who is spiritually refreshing, and Kedema, he who will move to the east. These are the 12 princes. It is also symbolic of the 144,000 who will be like the 12 tribes of Israel, which only means they will have the natures of the tribe of Israel and they will possess their different personalities. And she, Hadrat Fatima, was pregnant, screaming, because of her labor pains, suffering hardships from the pains of birth. Christians teach that this woman who is experiencing the pains of childbirth is the Holy Christian Church, which is impossible, because if the woman is symbolic of the church, then the church gave birth to Jesus. This is just another one of the many contradictions that these so-called scholars use to try to explain the meaning of the scriptures. And the 2 sons, Al-Imam Hassan and Al-Imam Hussein, who came through her, which was the rebirth of Al-Islam and the new city of peace. The child born to her also represents the coming of the rebirth of the elite few, the 144,000 that will come forth from the Holy Tabernacle Ministries. Her labor pains simply meant that her family, the Al-Il Bait, family of the house, and all those who followed them, because of their belief in the Most High Sustainer and because they kept all of the laws of the scriptures, and underwent persecution. And there was seen another sign to the world in the heavens, and behold, a big fiery red dragon, being violent and vicious, projecting desire and evil. The dragon here is symbolic of the beast that will rise up in the days of the last empire, the Babylonian Empire, or the New Roman Empire, as it is sometimes called. Having 7 heads, being the major powers of the United Nations, the United States, England, Russia, France, Germany, Italy, and Spain, and 10 horns representing the Sacred Council of Brotherhood who make up this New World Empire. It is also known as the European Economic Community, or ECC, the Common Market, and 7 crowns upon his heads representing their ruling power, who are all descendants of the cursed seed of Canaan, Labana, and are succeeding in controlling the 4 corners of the planet Earth by instilling the New World Order, which is not new anymore. The fact that they are the leading authorities of these 7 countries, and with the beasts called as Injiyl, the one removed tail he drew 1/3 of the stars, who were the cherubim, the disagreeable or malevolent beings, often referred to as the 200 fallen Elohim of the Orion skies, who possesses 180 degrees of negativeness, and did cast them down to the planet Earth having a physical seed. These 200 fallen Elohim are your black-skinned, straight-haired beings that came to the planet Earth 66 million years ago from the planets Procyon, Varaka, or Nirvana of the Canis Major star constellation, and set up in the land of Chaldea and the land of Nod. They were in human form. They are also called the Nephilians or Anakites. And the dragon stood before the female living being, symbolic of Hadrat Fatima and her descendants, who were responsible for giving birth to Al-Islam here in the West, who was ready to give birth, so that he could eat her child, Al-Mahdi. Because of the forceful impact of his teachings, as soon as it was born, the evil one tries to touch every Nubian child once it is born into this world. So, she, Hadrat Fatima, gave birth to a son, a male child, Al-Imam Muhammad Ahmad Al-Mahdi, a direct descendant, not an actual son, of Hadrat Fatima and Amirul Mu'minin Ali, who was to guard all the nations with a rod of iron. And her son was snatched up to Elohim after 7 years of teaching at the age of 40, and to his seat. And the Hadrat Fatima and the rebirth of Al-Islam fled into the wilderness. Her family ran from the pale Arabs of Arabia to Egypt, then down to Sudan. After the death of Mustafa Muhammad al-Amin, the family of Hadrat Fatima faced a great deal of persecution. The wilderness is also symbolic of America, the place where Islam would experience a rebirth, where she had a place readied by Thehos. This place is speaking about Dongola, Nubia, Sudan, the birthplace of Al-Mahdi, where Hadrat Fatima's descendants eventually settled, for they, Nubians, would take care of her there and accept Muhammad's family, for 1,260 days, 3.5 years equivalent to 42 months. And there was in the past a battle in the skies between the Anunnaki, Seraphim and Cherubim. Michael, who dares to be like El, also known as Malachi Zodok, or Murdoch, and his agreeable arch-Anunnaki, fought against Su-En, the evil one, and his disagreeable Anunnaki. These Anunnaki, what you call angels, are simply electromagnetisms caused by electric currents, not the Paleman's Christianized concept of some Caucasu, fat infant with wings. Instead, these beings are life forms, but their life, their thinking and their actions are of a more advanced state. And the disagreeable Anunnaki did not win, and there was no place in the skies for them anymore. After this war they were cast out of heaven, 200 of the 1/3 which listened to Halel, son of Shakar and Mylita. The remaining malevolent beings repented and became protectors of the holy shrines, the gates of paradise, and the throne of Anu, the Most High, also called El Elo. And the great evil one was put out of the Orion skies, that's that old Satanas or Diablos, who deceived the whole world. He was put out, and into the planet Earth, him and his disagreeable Elohim. And the great evil one himself was put out of the Orion skies, that's that old snake, called the devil or Satan, Su-En the evil one, reptilian Shakar or Tarnush, and Satan, who is called Iblis, the rebellious one, who deceived the people of the whole world because they knew not who he was. They deceived the whole world by making them believe that they were not the evil one's children in physical form. He was put out, and into the planet Earth, him and his disagreeable Anunnaki messengers, with him. And I, John, son of Zebedee and Salome, heard a supreme voice in the Orion skies saying, "Now has come the new city, the temple of El Elo, being the tabernacle of the Most High, the pure one, Al-Mukhlas, Yeshua, and the power and the kingdom, New Jerusalem, the crystal city of our Elohim, and all authority is for his Mashiach, because the accuser, Iblis, Shakar, Satan, who has been accusing our brethren, Adam, since the fall in the garden, and thought himself to be better than Kadmon, Zakar, Adam, and therefore more worthy of the title of Khalifa or successor that had been given to Kadmon. The arch-deceiver also blames Kadmon for his fall, and his whole existence is based on your destruction. He hates you because you have a soul, where he only has a spirit, and wants you to forfeit that soul so you won't regain entrance to paradise. He who was the accused, the cursed seed from Labana, Canaan, son of Ham and Halima, the human reptilian, Cainite, Lucifer, physical devil, has already been judged and tries so hard to hold on to this physical world, and they have no place in paradise because they are the devil's or reptilian seed, which accuse them, the Holy Tabernacle ministries in front of our El Eloh's day and shadow hours. They never stop their devilishment. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, being willing to die, and by the word of their testimony. These are those who have overcome the devil because they are willing to die like the Lamb, and will become sons after the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek. The blood is the persecution for righteous name's sake. They have and they loved not their lives to death. They have put aside their old garments and lifestyle and have taken on a new pure garment and the teachings of new Wabu, sound right reasoning. So, for the sake of this truth, be very happy, all 7 of the galactic Orion skies, consisting of 3 realms, Nasut, Malakut, Lahut, including physical and spiritual planes up to Alin, the 19th galaxy, those messengers who dwell in it for their sake be happy. Plague is for the planet Earth and the sea because of Iblis, the rebellious one who came down upon you all now on Earth, and is the reason for all the turmoil that exists here now, and for him, his seed who are in physical form walking to and fro, living on the earth, there is a great wrath, a physical curse of leprosy, that are lesions on the skin, infectious and not curable, placed on the genes of the cursed seed, descendants of Labana, Canaan, the first albino. He will not even be able to live under the sun. That's the reason so many are getting melanoma, skin cancer from the rays of the sun, because he has knowledge that a little time remains for him. The evil one Halel, Shakar, was granted respite until the end of time, so he could prove man's unworthiness of the favor of the Most High. The power to rule over man was for 6,000 years, starting with the birth of Canaan, which is the physical manifestation of the devil, Ha-Satan, Shaitan, that occurred 4004 BC, plus the 2000 AD, which is the point we have almost reached now, meaning his reign is almost up. The end of the devil's reign started June 6, 1996 AD. So, when the reptilian Su-An saw that he, himself, was cast down to planet Earth, he persecuted the confidant wife, Hadrat Fatima, who was a symbol of purity and righteousness, who gave birth to that male child. It is the woman who gives birth to the righteous Nubian seed, and to the descendancy line of the many prophets and guides from which, the Mahdi Muhammad Ahmad, son of Abdullah, was born. He was the born 150 years ago, a very spiritual being, who authored the prayer book called the Rad-Tib. In it there is the strength to bind hearts, minds, and communities. The Rad-Tib is an expression of the Mahdi's feelings about the Most High, and the gratitude and respect for Mother Nature, and an apology for abusing her, with the warning for human beings to stop, or Mother Nature would take revenge, as she is doing today with her hurricanes, tornadoes and earthquakes, in addition to those that aren't artificially made by man. So, the wife, Hadrat Fatima, and her way of peace, Al-Islam, which is what is called that old-time religion, the rights of Abraham. She was given 2 wings of a great eagle, the United States, for protection by Elohim, Anunnaki, so that she, her seed, the Nubians and all nations, could fly into the wilderness of North America to a place where she is sustained, New York. The same trials and tribulations of fleeing that the children of Israel went through while fleeing from Egypt, that Mary the mother of Yeshua went through, and Hadrat Fatima and her children, all were fleeing from the devil, is the same with the righteous of today, and the Most High will protect them for a time and 2 times and a half a time, to hide from the face of the snake, that serpent that deceived Hawa, Eve, and Kadmon, Zakar, Adam, in the enclosed garden of delight, eastward in Eden. And the snake spat out of his mouth water as a flood. The news media will paint an ugly picture of Al-Islam, the peace. The peacemakers are seen as terrorists, and inhumane killers, when it is actually Shakar, Tarnush, Ha-Satan is causing chaos. This flood sent out after the confidant wife, Tabernacle, so that he will cause her to be carried away by the flood. Through his web of lies, the evil one will try to chase the purified ones Al-Muklejana away, and the planet Earth, the people helped the wife, Tabernacle of the Most High, and the planet Earth, the people, opened up its mouth, spoke on our behalf and swallowed up the flood, by putting a stop to the lies and slander, which the serpent, reptilian, Shaitan, Canas threw out from his mouth. And the reptilian and his children, black and white devils, were angry with the wife, woman, the Tabernacle of the Most High, and he went to make a fight to the death, by eliminating as many Nubians from the planet as possible in forms such as genocide, birth control, abortion, biological warfare, drugs, and guns, etc., along with the rest of her seed, which stems from the enmity that started from the fall of man and the serpent in the garden, and because of their sin the Yahweh of the Elohim, who is Kalkal, also known as Rudwan and Uriel, said he would put enmity between thy seed and her seed. This lets you know the evil one actually has a physical seed. Only those who keep all the commandments of El-Elo, Anu and bear witness or proclaim faith in the Messiah Yeshua, who are a willing sacrifice, will be worthy to be taken up, and will become sons of El-Elo, those that will not suffer the plagues poured out by the Anunnaki Elohim of a command from the Most High who is called Theos, Anu, El-Elo, or Eli.